All right, Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, daily fail, meme review, software releases, and the websites by Plebs. Drop us a like, subscribe. All right, we're going to the numbers. So, we are currently at a block height of 678,076. Current Bitcoin price, 57,980. Chain rewrite days, 604. Total lightning capacity, 1,191.37. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 9.55%. Sats per dollar, 1,725.
Man,
just last week we were at 1,600 something.
Dude, I feel like we've been
just bouncing like a yo-yo.
Yeah, man, we've been at this level for millennia now. That's what it feels like.
Now it's boring.
In Bitcoin time, we're so bored. But anyways, phenomenal numbers. What else is there to say? Phil, it's time for
the daily fail. All right, everyone, the fail. They do have a blue check. Aha, I paid attention, okay? I saw they have a blue check. Now check this out. Breaking: German finance minister welcomes U.S. backing for global minimum corporate tax. Says great step forward in battle to stem erosion of government revenues. Okay, so look. Besides the fact that the government, the majority of governments have proven themselves beyond incompetent when it comes to monetary policy and it comes to handling their own finances. Like I've said in the past, if the government was a business, you wouldn't buy their stock because they can't seem to make a penny. The other part of it is that they offer a poor quality of service, all right, for a very expensive price. So really a corporate tax doesn't fix this. Really, it doesn't fix erosion of government revenues. That's fucking hocus pocus, okay? It's nothing. It doesn't mean anything. They're just pretending. It's all pretend. Because really what they would need to do, okay, if they actually wanted to do it right, is provide value to their constituents, right? We're supposed to be their customers. They're supposed to work for the people. Well, if they were to provide value, then maybe they'd be able to turn things around. Maybe the government wouldn't be such a piece of crap. Anyways, that's just part of it. But the reality is that they're not incentivized to create value because they create money freely. It doesn't mean anything. So they never have to produce any value whatsoever. They just need to keep kicking the can down the road. And this move is a can kicker. That's all it is. And it just, what does it do? It dumps more pressure on the individual and the smaller corporations. And I know that it's going to be like, oh no, but these corporations are shielded. It's never black and white. There's plenty of people that, should not be having to pay, higher taxes or whatever. But in this case, it's the normalization of a regular tax across all corporations around the world, which is really scary. Anyways, it's just total crap.
It is totally crap. And it disincentivizes competition, right? Like, dude, think about it. Like now the government has no incentive to attract businesses on its own. Now it's saying, look, you cannot no longer flee to a location that's treating you better, right? Because now we have this global corporate tax. And of course, this is all to fund the new Biden administration's plan, right? They're hiking up the corporate tax rate from 22 to 28%. I just find it funny that the German government is so gun-ho. It's like, yeah, sure, we'll join along, we'll collaborate. We'll try to get as much tax revenue out of these cattle, but it's just also funny because who are they trying to fool? We all know that this plan, that this $2 trillion, whatever you want to call it, right? We're apolitical on this show. Dude, they're paying for that. The Fed is paying for that. Tax dollars aren't paying for that. Tax dollars aren't paying for that. That's the biggest scam. Look, if anything has proven anything, Phil, the last year we have figured out, or at least the public has figured out, right, that the government is literally printing their way out of their problems.
Now, before we tell you what's in the bill, one word about who's going to pay for it. In fact, we only need one word, and the word is you. Taxes are going up dramatically, and they didn't have to, actually. Tax revenues no longer fund the ambitions of our political class. Have you noticed? The Federal Reserve funds them. When politicians want something, they just print the money. It's called modern monetary theory. They've been doing this for years, and it's accelerating. So there's no actual reason to raise taxes anymore for anything.
Right. So why are they raising the taxes? Like it's all a scam. They know they're lying. We know where they're lying, but they're lying anyway. Oh man.
It's mind games to punish us, right? Like, here you go. We're going to print this money. We're going to fix these problems, and you're going to get taxed way more everywhere.
Dude, and
what are they doing?
And this is exactly why Bitcoin exists. Opt out. Get out of that. Why are you allowing these shenanigans, right? Get the hell out.
Yes.
Just get out, okay? Stop being held hostage. There's an awesome orange life raft. Everyone's invited. It's so much better there. Anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily Meme Review.
All right, everybody. The meme for today is brought to us by @austerity_sucks. Man, I don't know if you're a plebe. You got no laser eyes, but your handle is dope. Okay. Anyways, check it out. It's not backed by anything. Wall of encrypted energy and cyber hominess. Two volatile equities. Man, it's just a Chad Michael Saylor shutting down all the FUD. Gold is better. 5,000 years. Gold is only, man, it just goes on. It's like your little cheat sheet for when you go to Thanksgiving and the Chad Michael Saylor is giving you all the cheats. But anyways, Phil, for that amazing meme, I'm going to give it a lens cap. I'm not going to tell you guys what it's a lens cap of. You guys are going to have to wait, but it's good news. Anyways, Phil, what's your score?
Mystery lens cap. Commendable. Okay. Yeah, that is an awesome meme. And not only that, it also acts as a cheat sheet that you can bring along. So it's a meme and a cheat sheet. Look, you know what? It's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of memes. I'm going to go with a multi-card reader. Ooh, that's right.
Man, the scores, we just keep upping the bar. I don't know if we'll have scores in 2 years. You know,
no one can handle this.
No one can handle that. We're too hot. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News, sponsored by
Crypto Cloaks.
All right, everybody. So to start off the week's news, a notable tweet by @documentingbtc, phenomenal Twitter account. Definitely recommend it. Anyways, check this out. Satoshi Nakamoto trolled the government by setting their birthday to April 5th, right? A seemingly random date at first, but on April 5th, 1933, an executive order was issued that made gold ownership illegal for citizens, right? This is the infamous, FDR seizure of gold.
6102.
So, thank you, Phil. So, Phil, listen, Bitcoin is symbolic AF. I really think Satoshi did this on purpose, okay? There's no conspiracies, but there's also no coincidences. This definitely applies to that. I think it was on purpose. Anyways, what's your opinion on it?
Okay, check this out. This was a tweet thread that I read. 6102 was on this. For the people who don't know who @6102 is, they should check him out. @6102Bitcoin. He runs the Bitcoin-only website, Bitcoin-only.com website. But the reason why I'm explaining this, right, is because the 6102 order backwards, okay, what was mentioned on a tweet, which is really interesting, is that backwards is 2016, which is whenever there is a block adjustment, it's usually approximately around the 2016 block that the difficulty adjusts. So there are tons of Easter eggs that Satoshi Nakamoto entity put into Bitcoin, and we're going to keep finding them, and they're super cool, and I find this so interesting. It's so incredible. And it's also interesting that it's 21 million, right? Because supposedly, when we die, there's 21 grams, we weigh 21 grams less. So is it possible that he put the soul of money into Bitcoin? Is it possible?
We don't know, but we're going to cover it here on Simply Bitcoin. But dude, listen, it was on purpose, okay? That's my opinion. It had to be on purpose. But anyways, moving on to the next bullish piece of news. Check this out. The chairman of the Sacramento Kings, I quote, "I'm going to announce in the next few days that I'm going to offer everyone in the Kings organization, they can get paid as much of their salary in Bitcoin as they want, including the players." The reason I wanted to bring this up, Phil, is we told you so. This is exactly what we've been predicting was going to happen after Russell Okung doubled his salary in a year. Of course, there's going to be other players to be, I want to do what that guy's doing. But anyways, Phil, the next piece of news, this is the end of the Arthur Hayes saga. Former BitMEX CEO Arthur Hayes surrenders to face charges. But like we also said here on Simply Bitcoin, he's not going to serve a day in prison. To quote the article, he appeared before a federal judge in Honolulu and pursuant to an earlier agreement, right there, an early agreement, like we said, was released on a $10 million bond pending future court proceedings in New York. Okay, look, that whole saga was not about, BitMEX breaking the law. It was about the U.S. government setting an example, trying to give a major slap to one of these exchanges that said, listen, I'm the boss here. And they're right. They are the boss of the legacy financial system, which runs on the dollar. But man, they can't be the boss of this new system. I don't think they've come to terms with that. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be casualties in the process. And Arthur Hayes was definitely a casualty. But like we've been saying, we don't think he's going to serve any jail time because he wouldn't have turned himself in, right? He's going to pay a heavy fine like we've speculated in the past, and he's going to get out of jail free. It's just the way it is, right? He's just going to pay a big fine. But anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts on the end of the Arthur Hayes saga?
Okay, so, a couple of thoughts, right? To your point, right now, this system obviously is, very relevant. The majority of all of our transactions take place, right, with fiat, fiat currency, unless you're really living, on the fringes, or, if you're really like a hardcore Bitcoiner and do every single transaction in Bitcoin and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, the average person is still doing a lot of fiat transactions. So right now, they're relevant, right? And what they're doing, to show people that, hey, you can't just, do whatever you want and scoff the laws. Okay, fine. So they were able to make an example of Arthur Hayes. But I also argue the other side of the coin, that as this ecosystem builds out, to your point, they don't hold any control in that ecosystem. And the only way they're going to be able to battle in that ecosystem and own any piece of it, right, is to offer value in that ecosystem. So, again, like, in Bitcoin, if you're offering value into that ecosystem, then you get rewarded. At least I believe that you get rewarded, equally to the value that you put into the ecosystem. And yeah, I think that these entities, if they choose not to, they are going to make themselves irrelevant. So right now, they're very relevant. But as this ecosystem grows out, they become less and less relevant if this is their plan of attack, right? They're going to sit there and just,
Exactly right. You're
back
exactly
everybody's
right.
hand.
If they keep flouting out these ideas of like this global law to tax all corporations, man, it's just going to funnel more people into the Bitcoin ecosystem, and they're going to stay there. There's really no reason for them to go back, right? I think you're absolutely right, Phil. But on a more funny piece of news, I thought this was absolutely hilarious. Check this out. On GoDaddy, Bitcoin.com is available for sale for $100 million. It led a lot of people to speculate that Roger Ver is going broke, that he did horrible with Bitcoin Cash. We definitely agree with that. We've shown you the hash rate countless times on this show to point out that that Bitcoin Cash and BSV is thermodynamically less superior than Bitcoin, has less computational power backing up those networks. Therefore, the value proposition of those networks are less than. But it's just funny to see this. However, to be fair, Ver actually responded to that, and he's calling it fake news. Okay, so to quote the article, it says, "Please remove this fake news that is really damaging my brand, my real brand. It really is really damaging his brand because everyone thinks he's broke." So shout out to GoDaddy for the troll. We don't know who did it, but look, I can confirm it. I saw it there. It got pulled down since then. But dude, I saw the image. I saw it with my own eyes. It was on GoDaddy being for sale. Man. I would say poor Roger in this case, but that guy scammed so many people into thinking that Bitcoin Cash is anything legitimate. So man, F Roger Ver. It's hilarious. This is so funny. And if it's true, dude, man, you shitcoin, you go broke. Anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts?
Bcash, Bcash, Bcash. That's all it is. It'll never be Bitcoin anything. Okay. And it's just so funny, right? When I saw it, I also saw some cringe tweet from like Jason Williams, Pomp's partner there, that he was willing to go half on that with somebody else to buy it, which I don't know if that's really that much better than Roger Ver. But anyways, it's my own personal opinion. But yeah, look, I think it's funny. Maybe a couple of days too late. If it is a troll or a fake, should have been on April Fool's. That would have been great. But yeah, I think it was absolutely believable by all of us that it was for sale.
Dude, it was so believable. And man, it was
it's time.
It was the ultimate troll by, I guess, GoDaddy. Very called it fake. But anyways,
Very well
Phil,
done.
look, we have a sneak peek into the dystopian future of what the future would look like without Bitcoin. Check out this article in the Wall Street Journal. China creates its own digital currency. Yes, this is a central bank digital currency. And yes, it has been launched. It is live. Just to quote a couple, I would say, concerning points that the article states. Cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin have foreshadowed a potential digital future for money, though they exist. This is the key, right? Because this is what the mainstream media, they want you to feel like you are powerless. But in reality, F the traditional system. Bitcoin doesn't need it. But check this out. Though they exist outside the traditional global financial system and aren't legal tender like cash issued by governments, we don't care. Nobody cares that they're not considered legal tender. Why does it need a stamp of approval, right? It's what people use as money. If they decide that Bitcoin's valuable, which apparently they do, look at Bitcoin in Kenya, it has a 20% premium, right? So obviously, sorry, not Kenya, Nigeria. So obviously people are picking the better thing. So we could care less what the traditional global financial system thinks and what countries think as legal tender. And this is what they want. This is what countries want as legal tender. So check this out. China's version of a digital currency is controlled by its central bank, which will issue the new electronic money. It is expected to give China's government vast new tools to monitor both its economy and its people. By design, the digital yuan will negate one of Bitcoin's major draws. It's a major draw, apparently, right? That it offers some anonymity for the user. That's apparently a major draw.
Pseudonymity, but yes.
Man. China is embracing digitalization in many forms, including money, in a bid to gain more centralized control while getting a head start on technologies of the future. Right? The article goes on to say, digitized money looks like a potential macroeconomic dream tool for the issuing government, right? Usable to track people's spending in real time, speed relief to disaster victims, or flag criminal activity. That sounds very, very innocent, right? But it's extremely insidious. Track people's spending, speed relief to disaster victims, or flag criminal activity. That's a very broad thing to encompass, right? In China, we have already seen that if you aren't a good behaved citizen, you fail on their social credit system and they could shut down your digital currency, right? This is one of the big problems with digital currency, right? Is that you're exchanging this ease of use, right, which central bank digital currencies will offer you, and you're exchanging that for sovereignty, right? So with China, if they don't like your spending habits, they could just shut off your currency. So it's not really yours, right? It's a form of control. And if you think that the central bankers in Western countries, just because they're in Western countries and they don't live in a totalitarian country, they're not looking at China and this experiment, and they're not having wet dreams, and they're not salivating at the mouth with, wow, this is the potential control that we could have, you'd be wrong, right? And it's crazy, Phil, to think that the only pushback that we have as a society against that, because that's exactly where we're heading, is Bitcoin, right? That's the only tool we have to fight against that. And you look at the wording that article said, it's saying it's a downside that Bitcoin offers anonymity. It's a downside that it's not considered legal tender. It's a downside that it's not accepted by the global financial system. Bitcoin doesn't care about any of that, right? That's the whole point. It's built without the establishment, right? That's the power of Bitcoin. So, man, that article, Phil, when I saw it, it made me super grateful that Bitcoin exists, because if it wasn't for Bitcoin, man, the people that are in control of the money right now, they want total control of your life. They want to decide what you could spend money on, when to spend it. They don't want you to save. Remember, we've played you that video by the Central Bank of Canada saying, spend, spend, spend. You know, it's your patriotic duty, right? It's the same old theme that has happened for hundreds of years that Bitcoin destroyed. It's the state, the powers that be, using the people, leveraging the people, keeping the people hostage because they control the money to spend on whatever they feel like it, whether that's a war, whether that's a welfare program, whatever they decide, right? Bitcoin changes all that, but there's going to be a lot of conflict, right? Because those people are not going to go gently into that good night, right? Anyways, Phil, what are your thoughts?
I just want to, quickly make a point on language and words, right? Quite often, words specifically placed will, conjure up certain feelings, certain emotions, right? And that's done by design. So when you look at the way that part of what you read was constructed, right? Government issued legal tender. Okay. So really what it is fiat by decree, right? That's what it is. It's money by decree. Okay. And they tried to conjure up these feelings of safety by calling it, legal tender, and that, and linking it to government issued, right? Because it's government issued, everyone accepts it and it's all good. You can trust it. Remember, this is what happens, right? The mind attaches all these other words to it. And then all of a sudden you're painting this picture of hey, this is great. Even the way that they, you see how they talked about, what they could do with it. Sending disaster relief. Really? Is that really what's happening? You're having so many disasters that you need a currency to track everyone's spending so that when there is a disaster, you can send them relief? This is what everyone was discussing? Not a fucking chance. Okay? This is just the story that they sell everyone. So once again, you create the image of trust and security. That's all it is. Words get used against us all the time. Okay? They're being used against us in other ways, which I'm not going to go into right now, but this is, this is a great example of that kind of I don't even know what to call it, but it's just this word marrying,
it's
where
a propaganda piece. You're exactly right. It's a propaganda piece for the fiat system. That's what it is. And they're using scary words to label, Bitcoin, right? And they're trying to put it in this basket of the despicables, the undesirables, they're the ones using Bitcoin. But Phil, I have hope. I don't think they're going to
Lots of hope.
I don't think they're going to get away with this. I think that we have a bright orange future ahead of us. But anyways, Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, everyone. We had Sea Lightning version 0.10.0 that was released, and the details to that are down below in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, that was our show. We're going to change it up this week. I think you guys are going to be happy. We're upgrading our production, so bear with us. We got brand new cameras. They're sick. It's all for you, so we can deliver the news better. Anyways, guys, you know what to do. If you enjoyed the episode, smash that like button. And if you love Simply Bitcoin, if you like hearing the news from the Pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing. And of course, we will see you tomorrow for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.